بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Okay, anyway, I have been asked a question, actually a few questions that I'm going to discuss today. So the first question is about, is going to be the Hanafi position in terms of homosexuality. That's the first question that inshallah we're going to discuss. And the second question is going to be about the matter of circumcision of the women. And the third question, inshallah, is going to be the main topic for today, is the authenticity of narration of Quran. If it's mutawatir or is it only for Sahaba narrated. So it's the other thing. Anyway, in terms of the homosexuality, I don't believe that there is anyone who does not know that in all of the religions is prohibited action. Yeah, but then the main question was in terms of the punishment of the homosexualism in Hanafi madhab. And that's also very famous position of Hanafis, in which Imam Abu Hanifa says, as well that's the official Hanafi position, that there is no had but there is ta'zir. Inshallah, I'm going to discuss the difference between had and ta'zir. Okay, that's one thing. And the other thing, disagreement between Abu Hanifa from one side and the rest of the Imams, including Malik, Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad, from the other side. Because as you know, them three Imams, they do say that there is no ta'zir but there is actually had. So had is an official punishment, okay, which is restricted, limited, and dictated by Allah and His Messenger. Okay, but so for example, as you know, in Islam, the had of stealing is if it will reach some certain amount of money, so then a hand will be chopped off, for example. Okay, and that type of thing. Okay, or for example, if you slander a lady of being like sexual, etc. matters, so then if she wants, she can chase you up and you will be punished, and there is had. And had is 80 times of lashing. Okay, so if you insult some man or some woman in terms of sexual things, okay, for example, if you say that she committed adultery or you born from adultery, etc., that type of things. So that is the had. So the meaning of had is a punishment which is actually dictated by God and His Messenger, and the amount of the punishment is actually clarified and dictated in Quran and Sunnah. But the ta'zir is something. It is a crime which constituted, but it's a level lower than the legal punishment, the had punishment. Okay, so for example, if you steal some certain amount of money, so then there is punishment. But if it will be less than that, then there is no any punishment, had, but there is ta'zir. Okay, as well as the ta'zir, there is a maximum amount of ta'zir and there is minimum amount of ta'zir. Inshallah, we're going to talk about it also. But anyway, now, as you know, the difference between Abu Hanifa and the rest of the Imams. So the rest of the Imams, they follow the narration of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, in which it says, "Man wajadtumuhu ya'malu 'amala qawmi Lutin faqtulu al-fa'ila wal-maf'ula bihi." Anyone that you find doing the homosexualism, okay, so means there will be 4 witnesses seeing everything. Okay, so it's not like two naked men lying in the same bed or they are on top of each other. It's not that, but they should see that penis is going into anal way. Yeah.
Sheikh, sorry to interrupt, a very important point.
Yeah.
Because is that the same for man and woman adultery as well?
Same thing, yeah.
So it has to be actual penetration.
Yeah, penis is going into the vagina.
And this is the meaning of 4 witnesses. They have to see.
Not each single person should see. But what about if 3 will see, but 1 will be in the position in which is not visible? We do not accept their witnessing. and in some certain circumstances, the witnesses will be punished also.
Right.
So, because there was no 4 valid witnesses who saw how it went in.
So this might sound strange to some of our viewers, even non-Muslims. So because this is something I did hear about, but people, they find it hard to accept. So it's literally, if whatever I see, me and 3 witnesses, it looks like sex and it's not good enough unless I see the actual penis go into it.
That's on it.
Have to see it.
You have to see it.
Okay, which is very hard.
Or even it could be sometimes, for example, if it's 2 men doing it, so penis is not in the anal way, but on top of the anal way.
Still not enough.
Is not enough.
Wow.
Or for example, same thing with the men and women. Okay, but it's not inside, but it's on top.
Still not count.
There is no punishment.
Wow.
But it does mean that they are not sinful. Okay, but punishment is applicable only if penis goes in. One of them 2 ways, vagina or anal way.
And wait, is this Hanafi or everyone agrees?
It's ijma.
Ijma.
There is no any punishment without 4 authentic witnesses seeing it. Okay, so even let's suppose that now me and you will go out. Okay, for example, to the street, and we see, for example, group of people shouting, saying I'm homosexuals, etc. We say that is not enough for the implementation. Okay, so there is legal way of doing it. Or even, for example, let's say I did commit adultery, may Allah forbid, and then I will come to you saying I did do it. So that is not enough in itself. Okay, so but the legal procedure for that is person who is admitting it, he has to go to the court. Okay, and in 4 different occasions he has to admit it in separately 4 times.
Shocking. So, Sheikh, do you mean even for homosexuality? If I was to go to town centre and say I am gay, I enjoy being gay, that is unpunishable?
No.
I have to go to a judge, not even to you.
No,
so, some qazi or some...
Yes.
And 4 times.
And not also Maulana or Sheikh or Mufti, but judge. Qadi, who is appointed by official governor.
So there has to be official governor? Okay.
Official government. So, for example, let's say president in Muslim country or king in Muslim kingdom. So he will appoint some qadi, judge, to sort out these type of issues. So then a person, if he wants to admit it, he has to go 4 times. Okay, or he has to admit it in 4 different circumstances. Okay.
4 different occasions, like different days,
different days, or the same day in 4 different places, or in 4 different turns actually. But what about if one person goes and just sitting says, okay, Judge Saab, I committed zina once. After a short while, I committed zina. We say that's all one. And also in Hanafi madhab, in our books, we say, as well as in the rest of the madhab, the qadi will be trying to avoid him, send him back. Okay, and also we do have in Hanafi books references in which qadi will speak very harshly. Get lost, you know, make him to just disappear, you know. Get lost, kid. Do you understand what's it? Just get lost, you know. You are still bacha, you know, kid. Get that. So
he doesn't want to listen, really. Okay.
Yeah, because Rasulullah says it's coming. Saying anyone who falls into these type of sins, so let him to cover up himself. Okay, and but when he comes to admit it legally, because then afterwards we have to implement a punishment. Okay, so it is better for him just to stay away. Okay, but so that's the procedure. So it's not that easy procedure. Okay, so for example, during the lifetime of Rasulullah it has been implemented twice. Do you know for the adultery? And
only twice, Sheikh?
Twice.
Right.
Because once a lady who committed that, she came by herself admitting. Okay. Also with her partner also. And the second time when it happened in the Jewish tribe. Okay, and then they brought the matter to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Where they covered.
Yeah, exactly. And then Rasulullah sallallahu dictated the whatever was in their book, and that did accord our religion also. So it happened twice actually. Yeah. But in terms of homosexualism, it never happened in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
At all.
At all.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it started happening in the time of Sahaba.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, so that is the first proof of the three Imams. Hadith is in Sahih Tirmidhi, Sunan al-Tirmidhi, as well as another hadith they quote actually from Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and there is hadith in which Rasulullah says, لَعْنَ اللَّهُ مَنْ عَمِلَ عَمَلَ قَوْمِ لُوطٍ, and for 3 times means the person who does these type of things, so he's cursed. Okay, 3 times. So then, obviously, second thing does not prove that there is punishment. Am I right? But the first hadith is there, uqtulu, because do kill them. Okay,
this is from Ibn Abbas, you said?
Ibn Abbas, yes, yeah, and it is authentic in Sunan al-Tirmidhi. So there is no any thing in terms of authenticity. So that is their proof. And also they bring the, if you know, dialogue of the Sahaba when this matter happened, okay, so etc. So these are the main 2 proofs, okay. But then Imam Abu Hanifa gives a proof saying that first of all, one just strong thought is not enough to implement the punishment. Rasulullah says, إِدْرَوُ الْحُدُودَ بِالشُّبُهَاتِ. Even if the hadith is, there is some certain weakness, but it is actually accepted by everyone. Okay, and there are many narrations of the same hadith in which, for example, the proper text of the hadith, the other narration, إِدْرَوُ الْحُدُودَ عَنِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ فَإِنْ وَجَدْتُمْ لِلْمُسْلِمِ مَخْرَجًا فَخَلُّوا سَبِيلَهُ فَإِنَّ الْإِمَامَ لأن يخطئ في العفو خير من أن يخطئ في العقوبة. Means as much as you can find excuses, try to give an excuse. And إدراء الحدود means avoid the punishment, and then carries on saying فإن وجدتم, so if you will find any excuse, خلوا سبيله, so release him, let him go. Okay, then he says, so it's better for Imam to make a mistake by forgiving than to make a mistake by punishing.
Right. So
that's the actual text. And Idra al-Hudud, it's another narration of the same hadith from Imam Ali. And Idra al-Hudud bi-shubha, it is a hadith of Ibn Mas'ud, and it is authentic. Okay, but it's from Mawquf, but Hukman, Marfu also. And then another hadith also, Idra al-Hudud wal-Qutla an ibadillahi mastata'tum. Avoid the punishments and the punishment of killing, like revenge, and from the slaves of God. Okay, so anyone mastata'tum, as much as you can. Okay, but this is not the main proof of Imam Abu Hanifa. So Imam Abu Hanifa says, because you know the highest punishment is in terms of, for example, Islamic punishment is killing. Okay, for example, and that will be if there will be adultery with all of the procedures. So then Allah did put a condition of having 4 witnesses. Okay, so that's why we say the authenticity, or you can say the daruri, you can say non-avoidable source of information is needed. Okay, so for that we need either very obvious ayah or either mutawatir hadith to prove that there is this punishment. But if you go back to find out the punishment of the homosexualism in hadith, so it's only khabarul ahad. But what Allah says about homosexualism, Allah did mention it in 2 places in Quran. So the first is Surah Al-A'raf, ayah number 80-84. So in there, Allah says, okay, in the from the side of Lut alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was speaking to his own tribe, you know, the Sodom and Gomorrah. So in there, Lut alayhi salatu wasalam describes what his tribe are doing, homosexualism, saying, "Bal antum qawmun musrifun," but you are the people who do israf. Israf is wasting. Okay, so Allah is not mentioning that they are doing zina, but israf. Israf is different to the zina, as well as in different ayah in Surah Al-Shu'ara, ayah number 160 and 161. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again on behalf of Lut alayhi salatu wasalam describes what the tribe of Lut alayhi salatu wasalam were doing by saying, "Bal antum qawmun adun." But you are the people who do adun means the people who actually cross over the barriers. Okay, and again, adun is totally different to zina. Okay, zunat or zanun, etc. So, as long as Allah is not describing this act as an act of zina, so we cannot implement the punishment of the zina. Okay, so that is actually main proof of Imam Abu Hanifa. Okay, but what about the reply to what is narrated from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, marfu hadith? So it's actually, as we said, hadith is ahad. Okay, and ahad is not sufficient to set up punishment. Okay, specifically when Rasulullah says, as long as there is some doubtful case, and we say khabar al-ahad in itself is doubtful thing. Why? Because khabar al-ahad means it's few narrators narrating from each other. It could be one from one, or two from two, and that, as long as it's not mutawatir, so there will be still some possibility of some of the narrators mistaking, or maybe some of the narrators misunderstanding, or some of the narrators maybe twisting some certain thing deliberately or non-deliberately. Okay, so all of them doubts are there, so we implement the hadith which is accepted by ijma, which is talaqqi al-ummah was set up towards this hadith, in which Rasulullah says, avoid the punishment with doubtful reasons. I say this is doubt, because khabar al-ahad there is a portion of doubt, because there is no necessity. Okay, so that is the main thing. As well as in different hadith, Rasulullah says, "Man balagha haddan fi ghayri haddin fahuwa min al-mu'tadin." And the person, Rasulullah says, anyone who gives a punishment to some person without that person reaching to the level of punishment, so that person is oppressive. Okay, so as you can see, zina, there is a punishment. But homosexualism, there is no punishment. So for us to set up a punishment for something for which there is no any punishment was set up, means فَهُوَ مِنَ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. So that is oppressive. So we do not go with that punishment matter. Now, yeah.
Sheikh, did you say that this is Imam Abu Hanifa on one side, and the other three are saying it's like zina?
Yeah.
So they're saying it should be treated like zina.
Zina, yeah.
But Imam Abu Hanifa is saying there should be very strong level of proof before you can do. And even so, okay. But the difference between
the punishment of zina is the top punishment.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
For that you have to have top evidence, but not khabar al-ahad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Imam Abu Hanifa's reasoning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because as well as Imam Abu Hanifa is quoting from Quran.
Yeah.
So because Allah has more right to describe what is that. So Allah did describe them by two things: israf, waste, okay, and mu'tadi. Mu'tadi means passing over the boundaries and barriers. You know. So for example, human being, man should have this with his wife. So that is the barriers, and people did cross over that. Okay, but in time Allah never described them as zina, so we cannot give punishment of zina to them.
Right.
Okay, and the hadith which is narrated is khabar al-ahad. Khabar al-ahad, there is a high possibility of the narrators mistaking, forgetting. Okay, and so as long as the level of the hadith does not reach to the level of tawatur, we cannot use it to shed the blood of the people. Okay, so that's the main thing. Now, let's talk about the ta'zir. So ta'zir is actually there are many differences. Okay, but in Hanafi madhab, it's actually one set of official position. So we say the maximum amount of punishment is if it will be set up. Okay, if testimony will be set up. So for witnesses, so how penis went into the anal way. Okay, only so then actually of course there are procedure of finding out who are these witnesses. Okay, so did they lie in their life, or are they practicing, or are they reliable? Okay, so after all of completing all of that procedure, so then the maximum punishment is 39 lashes actually. 39 lashes, because as Rasulullah says, anyone who gives punishment of had in the issue where there is no any punishment, so then he is oppressive. And we say the smallest amount of punishment is a punishment of slave when he is slandering. Because as you know, in Islam, the punishment of a slave is half of the punishment of the free man. Okay, so the smallest amount of punishment is some man slandering some person, or some man is slandering some lady, okay, or drinking wine and walking outside. So that is 80 lashes if he's free man. But if he is slave, so then 40 lashes, because slave gets half of what free man gets in terms of punishment. Okay, so then means the ta'zir cannot be on the level of punishment. So the minimum punishment was 40 lashes.
Yeah.
So maximum ta'zir can be only 39.
Right.
Yeah, so that is the thing. But what about the minimum? So the minimum, it could be, maybe it could be slap. And even one of the Hanafi scholars said, I will never give a permission to anyone to slap the face of a human being. Okay, so it could be this. Okay, or it could be in public, in audience, judge will say, why did you do it? So that could be punished. So the minimum would leave it with the judge actually. So he will decide. Now, for example, let's say noble person from good, respectable family. So for him to say, why did you do it? In the audience, it's much more than to beat him up. Okay, so that could be the minimum punishment for him. Okay, but the maximum will be 39 lashes.
So Sheikh, I mean, this is very interesting. I think, especially for people who try to make it sound like Muslims want some kind of violence against homosexuals.
Yeah.
So, you said something very interesting. You said even for this punishment, there needs to be proof. Did you say the four witnesses? They can't ever have lied in their life.
Of course.
Ever.
They have to be just.
So never lied?
No, they should be known by being truthworthy.
Truthful, okay. So never known to have lied.
Yeah.
And
as well as practicing and never committed a major sin. For example, if they committed a major sin, if they've stolen or they're known of backbiting, so we do not accept their testimony.
So it's basically, again, our viewers will think that this is very unlikely. You will find four people who are that level of, they never even did backbiting of someone, and when they saw entrance of penis into AIDS, all of that has to be met.
Of course,
So it's a funny question, but the whipping, can you give us some, like what kind of whip should it be? Because again, people can say, okay, if it's like really hard whipping, the person can die. Sorry, it's a funny question, but
No, in Hanafi madhab, we say, it's a really good question, it's quite obvious in Hanafi madhab, it should be stick, okay, wooden stick, which is not like, it should be straight, and which does not have small branches, you know, it should be smooth, okay, and it cannot be, you know, like silicone.
Right.
Because silicone, you cannot lash once, because when you hit once, it hits again, you know, it falls like that. So it should be straight, okay, and then also it will not be beat. So this place shouldn't show, okay. So when a person is implementing it, so it shouldn't show.
So you can't raise your arm too high.
So this shouldn't open. It will be like that, okay, beaten. And it cannot be done, so the head will be avoided, okay, as well as like a private place will be avoided, and it will be done all over the body, but not in one place.
So head and private place, and private place is like the genitals and backside as well?
No, only the
genitals.
Side, yes, as well as all of the head.
All of the face.
Yeah, and then in different places, not in the same place.
So it's very specific.
Yeah, of course, It has got its own like description.
So it's not like a big whip where you're going to just damage. Okay.
No, because you never can hit once. Allah and Prophet, they did specify 40 times, 80 times. But if it is like a whip or if it is like a silicone, so you never can keep that number, you know. When you hit once, so it falls, you know. So like so that's it's
like recoil.
Yeah.
So, and it might just be verbal warning, actually.
Yeah.
It might just be
minimum. Yeah.
Minimum.
So the judge, because in each locality there is judge. So judge will know from which family. Okay. So for the noble family, so for them even it could be the minimum could be just by looking like angry face, you know, in the audience.
Even that.
No, yeah, because it will affect on them, you know.
So this is a bit, I would say, quite a big shocking difference from Muslims are supposed to be killing homosexuals to we just give someone who is having intercourse in front of 4 witnesses, reliable witnesses, and maybe we just give them a look. So there's a big difference between a look and killing someone, I would say.
No, and also, you know, also the punishment in Islam is not to purify the person from the sin, but it to stop the public, you can say, destruction of the society. Okay, so now let's think about the philosophy behind why for each single witness of them 4 should be reliable, truthworthy. Why? Because if they are liars, okay, so then if they say it, saying, oh, I saw Fulan and Fulan doing homosexualism, so people do not believe them, because he is very well known of lying, you know. Okay, so it will not affect on the society.
Right.
Okay, but on top of that, that person can chase him up, if he is liar, chase him up saying, he did slander me, and he will get 80 lashes, you know. Yeah, so because if a person is liar, witness is liar, so no one will pay attention, you know, because he is known by lying, you know. There was, it's another story of lying. Okay, but if he's truthworthy, so now big possibility that people will believe him.
Right.
So that's why it's necessary for the witnesses to be just. But if it is just liars, or if it is the people who know, or even, for example, what do you think about this one? In Hanafi madhab, we do not accept someone witnessing after 1 month after the crime. For example, 4 witnesses saw homosexualism or adultery happening. Okay, and then they had a chance of coming and witnessing, but they didn't come, and after 1 month they came. Qadi will say, because they have some enmity, so now they are trying to feed themselves, you know. Okay, or otherwise, why is 1 month? Where you have been? Okay, so the incident, crime should be very fresh. Okay, and the meaning of being fresh, we say within 1 month period. But after 1 month, it will be neglected. It will not be accepted.
So, Sheikh, am I right in understanding, this will probably be shocking for our viewers, the punishment for adultery is more than the punishment for homosexuality?
Correct.
So if you get caught doing homosexuality, so instead of, so people accuse Muslims of discriminating against homosexuals, actually the punishment is worse for heterosexuals if they do adultery. And even if they do fornication, they will get lashed more than 39 times, right?
What is fornication?
Like unmarried people having sex.
So
it's, so even that is more punishment than homosexuality.
Of course,
so I think this is shocking. I'm sure there'll be many questions on on this video, but
so unfortunately we do not go to the classical sources. So anyway, so that is the meaning of ta'zir. So had is the specific punishment which has been dictated by God and Messenger. Okay, and but ta'zir is less than the minimum punishment. Okay, and as we said, the minimum punishment is the punishment of the slave who slanders. So that is 40 times, so it will be less than that, so it is 39 times. And that is the mu'tamad of Hanafi position.
So Sheikh, I have to ask you, is there any like ikhtilaf amongst the Hanafis, because I'm a Hanafi, about is there any difference of opinion like amongst the authentic Hanafi scholars about this what you said? So is this like some Hanafis say it's 39, other Hanafis say it should be stoning? Is there any such difference of opinion?
Difference happened between Abu Hanifa and Imam Muhammad on one side and Abu Yusuf on the other side. Abu Yusuf says the ta'zir, so but it is ijma of Hanafis that there is no had but ta'zir. But then they disagreed on the maximum amount of ta'zir. Imam Muhammad and Abu Hanifa, they said that it is 39, and that is official Hanafi position. Abu Yusuf came said it is 79, because minimum punishment is 80.
Right.
Okay, but then we say the minimum punishment is the punishment of the slave.
Yeah.
When whatever free man does to get 80 lashes, if slave does that, so it is 40 lashes. So that is the minimum punishment. So, but still, official position is the position of Imam Abu Hanifa.
So the difference of opinion is not on whether you should kill or not. It's on how many lashes.
No. The disagreement is not on the homosexuality, but on the ta'zir, maximum amount of ta'zir. Yes. So that is the thing. Now, for example, ta'zir is not only for homosexualism, but for example, to make obvious slander, saying, "Oh, you are son of prostitute." This is obvious. Okay, but if I will say, "By the way, I know what is the name of my father," in front of someone, this is also, but not obvious.
Yeah.
So there is ta'zir, but there is no had.
Right.
Okay, so had, if in the first scenario, when I say, "You are son of prostitute," so it is 80 lashes on my back. Okay, but when I say, "By the way, I know what is the name of my father," okay, so it is indirect, not obvious, so it is 39, because it is ta'zir. So it's like that.
Sheikh, I have to ask, because I'm sure, like, again, the viewers, when they hear this, we're going to have many questions.
Yeah.
So, isn't there a hadith where, didn't Hazrat Umar, he lashed his son for drinking alcohol?
Yeah.
And then his son died during the lashing. So some people bring this up. So when they'll say, you're saying according to Hanafi position, the lashing is so mild, actually.
Yeah.
How can his son die from, you see,
but
or at that time did this not get formally, is not being settled?
No. It is from their time, actually.
Right.
In terms of how lashing will look like, it is agreed upon. It's not only Abu Hanifa says it.
Right.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be like, it shouldn't open up, it is all of us say. Hanafis, Hanbalis, Malikis, Shafis, everyone says that.
Right.
As well as it should be straight, because let's suppose that it's not straight, but it's like zigzag. So can you hit once?
No, it's
it
like
falls, falls, so it is twice.
Yeah.
So you never can follow the limits, as well as if it has got branches. So when you hit once, it goes in.
Yeah.
So how many lashes is that one? You don't know. So it should be smooth, Yeah, as well as when you're hitting like that, okay, so that is, as a minimum, it will be 2 or 3, But it's supposed to be 1 at a time, It's like that. So it is agreed upon. Yeah, but then why son of Umar radiallahu anhu died? Well, Allah knows. We have to go back to that time. So maybe he was ill. Okay, or maybe he was in some certain weakness, etc.
But hadith, it doesn't say he died from the lashing?
No,
he died.
during the lashing. During
okay.
that. But it could be from anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, for example, let's suppose that you're from noble family. You may die in some certain circumstance because of being ashamed, Do you understand? So we need to find out what was the reason.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not like that, beating that. It never happened.
Well, I'm glad you answered that, because I'm sure the first thing some Islamophobic people will bring up is that hadith, but that's been answered.
So how do you think that?
Because they like to bring up these things.
Yeah.
So I'm sure some of our viewers again are wondering, okay, if what you say is true, then how come there are Muslims or people who say that yes, there is death penalty? So how did this confusion come? You explained about the different madhabs, but where did this ideas come from Muslims about yes, gay people should be? I'm not saying Muslims say this actually, because in my opinion, this is the non-Muslims say this about the Muslims. I've never heard any Muslim scholar say that gay should be killed or anything like this. But where do you think the misunderstanding comes from then? Like this idea that they should be thrown off a building or something. Is this just people not using authentic texts of?
No. Actually, there are two sources. It could be 2 sources. One is because it could be from non-Hanafi sources.
Right.
No, for example, in Hanbali, Maliki, and Shafi'i, as far as I know, they do implement the punishment of the zina on the homosexualists. Okay, so that could be one source, and another source, it could be just unfortunately, Maulanas, Hanafi Maulanas also do this. I think it could be just out of ignorance, maybe. So it's very common that if you will start accusing someone of something, he will start believing on it, you know. Okay, for example, Orientalists and non-Muslims, they accuse us that Uthman did burn Quran.
Yes.
Okay, and we say, oh, actually, you know, because that's what he wanted, but there is no any authentic narration. Where did you get it from? Why do I have to show an excuse, you know? He didn't do it. So because, you know, it's the same as, look, I will say to you, okay, look, your face is ugly, okay, you look like a crocodile, you know? Okay, then after that you will start justifying, because my father was like that, you know? First of all, what do you see? Do you understand? So it's like a psychological thing. So I think the Hanafi Maulanas, because people have been accusing, so they started believing, yeah, actually, yes, we do say that. But we do not say that. You saw it. As well as Allah did name them, homosexuals, as wasters, musrif, as well as adun. Okay, people who cross over the limits, prohibition and orders. But there is no any naming like zina, etc.
So definitely now people will ask you to do a talk on did Uthman burn the Quran, because this is a very hot topic. But I think that would be very good for a separate talk actually, or to just mention this, because you're absolutely right. Orientalists and sadly some of our Christian friends, they like to talk about this a lot. But we'll save that for next time.
Yeah, of course, definitely, inshallah, yeah, definitely, inshallah. Yeah, that's it.